to Life After Sports 23 with James Harris and
Greg Vaughn.
Today's guest is Jackie Joyner-Kersee from East St. Louis, Illinois. How are you doing, young lady?
I'm doing fantastic. How you all doing?
Doing great. Thank you for coming on. I mean, big fan, first off. Big fan.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, two great guys doing something wonderful, trying to share stories with the world. Appreciate it.
Yeah, trying to reach other little, just kids that, that maybe can attest and relate to, what you've done and where you came from, that anything that you can accomplish anything, you know what I mean? If your mindset is right.
Yes. Yeah. Put in the work, you just never know. Have a game plan and execute it to the best of your ability.
Especially coming out of East St. Louis, you better have a game plan, huh? Because we have a lot of pitfalls and hurdles we have to jump over. And going into that is something I'd like to talk to you about. Starting back in your East St. Louis days, who got you into track?
So when I first started running, I was introduced to track at the community center, the Mayor Brown Center. Mm-hmm. And at the Mayor Brown Center, I started off as a cheerleader, leading the cheerleaders. My next door neighbors, my sisters, we made up the cheering squad. We cheered for the Major League football team. And then they would have the recreation component at the center. I learned to work with the librarian in the library, learned how to check out books at that time. Then was a part of the Meals on Wheels program with the seniors. And then Catherine Dunham, who is from our community, I took Catherine Dunham, African dance. Mm-hmm. And then finally track rolled around. And we didn't really have a track. We just ran in the park on dirt. Right. And so I got started there, and Coach Nino Fenoy was there. I started with George Ward, on Franklin Elementary School. Yeah. And I just loved it. I just enjoyed it. But then my first competition, I finished last, and I was like, oh, well, this is a little harder than what I thought, But I said to myself, if I can improve a tenth of a second if I was running, a half of an inch if I was jumping, that meant the work that we were doing was paying off. Mm-hmm. And one of my goals was to be able to run around the park without stopping, because they told us that one lap around was 400 meters. And we believed them. I didn't know how far 400 meters was at that time. And eventually, as I got older, we realized one lap around was 1,200 meters. So I was struggling, trying to figure it out.
Okay.
That old mind trick. I mean, you have so many awards and accolades. I mean, what is the ultimate highlight, if you look back at your career, what are you the most proud of?
Wow, when I look back on my career, I think the most important thing is, for me, was graduating from college, because my mother didn't have a high school education, and her and my dad were teenagers when they had my brother Al first, and they were 14 and 16 years of age, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to go to college, and not knowing that I was blessed with this athletic gift that opened my world up, my mind to, see the impossible being probable. And so being able to go to college, graduate from college, but then also to be able to see the success of people pointing to me and doing something that I didn't even know I had the potential to do. And that was running, jumping, and throwing, to eventually become one of the best in the world at it. So to be able to get to I would say the pinnacle for an Olympic athlete is to be able to win a gold medal, and in some cases to win any color of medal. And so from that standpoint, that's something I'm most proud of. But, long term is my community center, building the community center in my hometown of East St. Louis.
Okay. And it's also been known that you was a very great basketball player too. Don't leave that out now. Don't be so modest. Tell the people about the greatness in basketball, because you were great in basketball.
Yeah, I was very, blessed because my scholarship was in basketball. That's what I went
That's
to
what I was getting to.
UCLA on a basketball scholarship. But in my heart, I wanted to run track. And so I think our high school team, we are the only team from the school to go undefeated. We went 31 or 33-0 my senior year in high school, undefeated, and then went on to win. Well, we went undefeated and we won the state title. But anyway, and then went on to UCLA, started all 4 years. I was team captain when I was a sophomore. They wanted me to be one when I was a freshman, but I just didn't feel like I had earned that yet because we had upperclassmen and I just felt like I needed to earn it. And even though the coaches was like, you could be co-captain, and I was like, well, okay. But, it really took on the role when I became a sophomore to be one of the leaders, both on the court and off the court.
So was it a culture shock by leaving East St. Louis going to California? Was it a little different? Because when I left to go off to my school, Philadelphia is a city, kind of like East St. Louis. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
California, East St. Louis, it's like night and day. So, I mean, the moment that you get off the plane and this beautiful sun and houses and palm trees where you just left some oak trees and some potholes, what was your thought process?
I get that question a lot about where you culture shock or for me, really, I was so naive about some things that it really had an influence on me in a way that I didn't let what was happening in Los Angeles. I didn't know a palm tree from a regular pine tree, could care less, but dealing with all the traffic, not being able to know how to drive. But one of the things that I can say that helped me, and not just me, hopefully some of the other young ladies who I came up with, through Junior Olympics, you were able to travel and you got to see so many things, and our coaches was every step of the way was doing educational things with us that, as youngsters, we're like, oh, we don't want to learn about that. Or, teaching us about when we're going up high, you at the top of the trees, the tree branches. They're like, okay, but going out to California, I went out there with a mindset that I am one of all staters, one All-American, one of one, right? But I wanted to be one of the best. And I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, but I had a plan in mind, what I needed to do, because I was studied and I couldn't understand how someone could flunk out of school. But I realized that if you don't go to class, you're going to flunk out. And so, and take full advantage of all the opportunities that was there. Tutoring was there. It's free. I'm going to take advantage of that. Where others would say, oh no, I'm too smart for that. No, I'm it's not that I'm too smart for it. I'm smart enough to know that I'm going to go in here and do these 2 hours of study hall. And if I need help, I'm going to ask for help. I'm not going to act like I know it all. And when it came to being in, people say the fast lane, the only fast lane I was in was running track, because I came out there with a purpose in mind, knew what I wanted to do. I had different people approaching me. Oh, you should be a model. One time we were at the gas station and this man pulled up and he talking about, oh, you could be a model. I said, man, I come out here and run some track. I ain't come out here to be no model. I come out here and run some track. But that's just the naiveness on my side, because I didn't know, and I really wanted to enjoy the experience. And it was tough. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't. I was homesick a lot. I didn't want my mom, them to know I was homesick. I cried every night, but I knew that I made this decision and I had to stick with it and I had to see it through, and that was the beginning, of the journey of just trying to see how could I, move on to the next step or the next level.
I mean, listening to you talk, I mean, who played that part to, I mean, seems like you're so much more mature than your age. You know what I mean? You went there with a plan and focus. And we talk all the time, and I say, when we grew up, our parents and family members or the principal or the counselor or the next door neighbor told us the truth. They told us what life was going to be like. I don't care, like you said, that tree branch, all those the leaves are going to fall. You got to determine where you want to fall at. You want to be
Exactly.
the first or one of the last, and I mean, who played that part to get you to, think like that, think like, to have that maturity level?
I would have to say my mom, because remember, my mom was a teenager, and me being the oldest girl, I really thought she was being strict. When I had to read the local newspaper, she wanted me to know what was going on, and that she didn't even care about me doing sports. She wanted me to get an education and a job. And whatever job I got, I had to give her 10% of my money, And so it was more about being accountable, but also understanding the responsibility that goes along with what I wanted to do. No one could give me anything. I had to earn it. Mm-hmm. And in earning it, I would have a better appreciation for it and how I can hold on to it. So for me, I knew that there were certain things I wanted to do, but I knew my parents couldn't afford for me to go to college or do any of those things. And I didn't know the athletic gift that I had would even afford me the opportunity to be able to pick my school of choice, because that wasn't in my mindset. But it was really more about how do I grow up and become the best, people talk the best version of themselves, but how can I really be the best in what I was trying to do and wanted to do?
So as a decathlon, well, I don't want to jump that far ahead. So it was a point in time in your life when did you know that I'm good enough to be an Olympian? What was that moment? Because it's in me and Greg's, we spoke about it. I knew that the very first time I knew, I was like, I fit here. When I got in the NFL, it was maybe a small moment that I was like, oh man, look what I'm around. I'm around all these great athletes, and I'm just one of them. What was that moment that you said, you know what? I fit. I can do this.
I started running at the age of 9, right?
Right.
It wasn't until I was 14 and I saw the 76 Olympic Games on television. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, I want to go to the Olympics, because I saw women doing what I was trying to do. And at that time, they would put the university. And I remember seeing Evelyn Ashford. She would wear her hair in cornrows, and they put UCLA. I'm like, whoa, that got to be a good school for girls, even though they're women, because you didn't see a lot of women athletes on television unless it was the Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. So I go back to my coaches and I say to them that I want to go to the Olympics. Coach Fenoy and everyone saying, you got the potential. You have to be willing to work hard. I was like, I work hard every day. So fast forward, I have an opportunity to go to my first Olympic trials when I was a senior in high school. I go to those Olympic trials, and it's nerve-wracking. I'm nervous. I'm only doing the long jump. And even though I had one of the top scorers in the nation in the pentathlon at that time, but I didn't get an invite for the pentathlon. I got an invite just for the long jump. And I remember coming down there, I jumped 20 feet 8 all 6 times, the same distance. That is impossible, but I was so nervous. And I was like, oh, wow, not accustomed to all these people watching us. We compete in high school, you're going to have everybody, parents that's on your team there, and then the competitors. But then when you go to the Olympic trials, you're in Eugene, Oregon, it's like they are the birth of track and field, 15,000 people, and like, whoa. So I just said that, I didn't make it. I finished 8th in those Olympic trials. I go off to school to Los Angeles, and I never forget, as I was leaving the stadium, Brooks Johnson, who just passed away, is like one of the godfathers of track and field. He was the coach at Stanford at the time. And he said to me, the Lord works in mysterious ways. And I didn't know him, and I remember that. And then 4 years later, I make my first Olympic team, and he's one of the Olympic coaches, in Los Angeles.
So I mean, the pivot that you went from playing basketball at UCLA, they allowed you to do both sports, right?
Yes. So I was hesitant about trying to do two sports because I was really concerned about making sure that I didn't fall off academically. Mm-hmm. Because I had read where some of the students had flunked out of school, and I was wondering, well, how did they flunk out? I didn't know. So I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do basketball, I didn't really think I wanted to play basketball because I thought I was too short. But the coach was like, with your speed, your jumping ability, you're going to be okay. And I didn't believe sitting on the bench, because I'm like, if that's the case, then I can be over here getting better trying to do track, because in my heart and soul, I wanted to make the Olympic team in track and field. And so, but it worked out. It was just tough because basketball season would go all the way to the end of March. And then I would have to get ready for track, because back then you had to have a qualifying mark to go to the nationals. And I would have a short window to get ready for May for the national championships.
What was your main event in the beginning? Was it just the long jump, or was it the hurdles, or what was it?
So in high school, I was state champion in the long jump and 400. I had never ran hurdles and didn't do high jumping. I got introduced to the multi-events during the summer. That's when Coach Fernandez would put us into different events. And so I loved doing the multi-events. I became a national champion at 13 doing the pentathlon. And what was so unique about it was that at that time, now mind you, I'm not a good hurdler, not a good high jumper, but I would score in the top 3. And you would get all these different medals. So I'm thinking like, wow, I'm going to accumulate a lot of medals when I go to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I didn't know when you go to the big show, you only get one medal for all those different events. So it was mainly the fun of doing the pentathlon, eventually became the heptathlon, was challenging from the standpoint of, in my mind, I always thought I could master all 7 events. That never happened,
So is there one, say one of your competitors, one of the women that you looked up to that, you're competing against? Because it sounds like you're always the youngest one, you know what I mean? And did someone take you under their wing to, even though you're competing against them, did they, sort of nurture you down the road a little bit?
I always looked up to Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph was someone that I admired from the standpoint not only with her being the first woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympiad, but her story of having polio, not being able to walk, let alone be able to run. And at that time when we were coming up, Tiger Bells was it, and Tom, with coaching and everything, what he was able to do with Tiger Bells. And then in 84, having the opportunity to meet Wilma because she was one of the commentators for the Olympic Games. And then after that, she took me under her wing and we just became real good friends. And it helped because as an athlete, you just see the lanes and you're running in them. You don't know anything about, oh, you're going to have to make appearances. Oh, they might want you to come to this gala. Oh, they might want this, they might want that. So she's telling me all these things that is about to happen. And I'm not really conceptualizing because I don't understand. But then now I see, oh, you got to go here. They're going to honor you here. You got to wear a ball gown. Oh, you're going to have to go here and talk to some corporation. Like, oh, wow. So that was very good insight in preparing me for what was about to happen. And to know that even though, everybody say they love you, but then there are going to be envy and jealousy out there. People are going to try to find a way, just like they build you up when you're the underdog, everybody love you. Then when you get on top, everybody trying to tear you down.
So, well, I know you had a very famous sister-in-law too.
Yes.
Did you and Florence, did you guys run at UCLA together, or did you guys just run on the was that Santa Monica track team together?
No, we went on Santa Monica track team.
Okay,
we was on UCLA, the Bruins together,
Okay.
Bruins and I, we carried the team. Florence was the
Okay.
sprinter,
You
and then
right here.
I was the workhorse, so, but no, we ran together. So my late sister-in-law, Flojo, the 100 to 200, ran on the 4x1. And if Florence wanted to run the 4x4, she'll run it. If she didn't, then they put me in there, when I'm like, oh, okay, I carry my load. But no, we won 2 national championships together. And then eventually Florence, married my brother and went on and still became the world's fastest, woman in 100 meters, the world record holder in the 100 meters, as well as the 200 meters.
Well, that was a good person. You guys was able to push each other in practice, and being able to be next to someone that's have the same goals that you have, it's a lot easier than just competing by yourself, being the workhorse on the team by yourself. That's a very tough task. Tell us about being able to just you two dragging this whole team across the line.
You know what? Believe it or not, I trained with some of the best. Have Valerie Briscoe Hooks, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, Jeanette Bolden, Olympic champion, Alice Brown, Olympic champion, Olympic and silver medal champion, Florence Griffith at the time, but eventually became Flojo, Gail Devers, and our list go on and on and on. So we felt like if we're training together, if we're pushing each other, and what was a benefit to me was that when I go and run against the heptathletes, there is no way they should be staying close to me. Because if I'm staying close to the best athletes in the sprints, these are the best athletes in the world. And I'm not trying to beat them, but I'm just staying close. But when I take my little self over there and do my heptathlon, then I'm trying to run away. Them other heptathletes should be running with me.
I don't think they did either. No. They didn't. When you look at the sport today, where do you see it now compared to when you got into it?
Wow, where I see it now is that I just look at the appreciation that people have for, women's athletics, and then when you start looking at the innovation side of it, the equipment side and the things that they're doing, when I was coming up, we didn't have social media, we didn't have opportunities like a podcast to be able to voice your opinion and be able to kind of reject some of the things that was being said about you. But today, to see the things that some of the athletes have at their disposal, it is pretty remarkable. But then also some of those same tools that are of value to them work against them, because the discipline that it takes for you to put in the work day in and day out, sometimes they need that same discipline to stay off social media, because a lot of people, we got a lot of young athletes and they feed into that and they love being able to, I guess, be embraced and praised. But then, sometimes it's so negative that it starts messing with them psychologically, impacting what they should be doing on the field.
Right. Is it a young athlete right now, running track that reminds you of yourself?
Wow. You know what? Anna Hall is someone that I truly, I mentor her. She went to Florida. She got 5th in these Olympic Games. But this young lady is an Olympic champion. She was injured. She's going to bounce back. And what I see in her that I saw in myself, a fierce competitor. I don't care who you put me up on the line against, I'm going to give it my all. And she going to dig deep and go after it. And then also, just with my husband still coaching, I don't see myself in a Sydney McLaughlin, got 400 hurdles, to run 50 seconds, over barriers, who have the ability to break 50 seconds in that. It's just pretty amazing. I just love seeing the competitiveness in the athletes, and then the long jump, to see Tyra Davis go out there and win that gold medal, in the Woodhall in the long jump. But seeing someone that's doing what I did, Anna Hall, because the multi-events take a very special person, and not only a special person, but a special talent, because it's a emotional and mental roller coaster of going through all the different events and being able to manage your highs and your lows, but then also sticking with it instead of saying, oh, like I long jump, well, I just want to go long jump. And I think we lose so many great multi-eventers because they could do one event well, then someone gets in their ear and convince them that they should no longer do the multi-event. And the multis is a tough event to do, and if I wanted to run hurdles, I could just run hurdles. If I just wanted to long jump, which I did, but I did that on top of doing the heptathlon. So Anna Hall, I think a young phenom, it's just a matter of time, her getting healthy. You're going to see 7,000 points consistently from her, in my opinion.
Wow, that's quite a statement coming from you. You know what I mean? When you look back, and I just know in my era, and just watching, I mean, you think about Jackie Robinson at UCLA doing what he did, but then female, that's you. You know what I mean? The female, one of probably the best female athlete in the world's history of track and field. You know what I mean? An athlete means everything. Like you said, basketball, shoot, if you play baseball, you probably do it there too. But you said something that, but I try to convey to kids, there's a difference between competing and trying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A competitor trying doesn't take much effort.
No.
Right. I'm like, what is it to try? Why try? Try what?
Try what?
Exactly. Because everybody can get up and say, "Oh, I tried to do it." You got to be doing it. Where is that determination and grit? Dig deep, and nothing is going to come easy. Because when you play baseball, and James, when you went out there doing football, yeah, you made it look easy, but that's day in and day out. And if you try something that looks easy, it is extremely difficult. Then people get out there and run a marathon. I am not trying to run no marathon because I know how hard that's going to be. 26.2 miles is not a part of my DNA, and I do not want to do it. I can barely go the 5K. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm with you on that.
I don't even want to get out of in the car.
I'm with you on that. So talk about, I mean, it seems like everybody in our area, community is the number one focus. You know what I mean? Giving back and trying to get these kids to understand and make a difference. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be an actor, a rapper. Just try to make your community better. You know what I mean? Go back and be a positive role model in your community. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. I talked to Eric Wright. That's my guy. I talked to E the other day. Yeah. I talked to E 2 days ago. And, I was telling James, I said, man, it seems like, being from California, I have so many buddies that are close to me that are from East St. Louis. You know what I mean?
Here, he want to be from East St. Louis.
That's okay. You're part of the family, part of the community.
He's so part of my family. I can tell you that. I love him to death. Yeah, he's gave me an opportunity to do something that I wanted to do, and we did it together. And sports brought us together. But this show is more about life, and we've given a lot of people opportunities to talk about their lives, like yourself. I told him that about Tina. I told her about Tina Hutchinson, and Tina Hutchinson from my area. And I was going to ask you, was you in California at the same time with Tina?
Tina was behind me. I was in California. So when Tina came to Lincoln with Coach Riggins, and in my opinion, going out to San Diego was a good choice, but then I don't think Coach Riggins allowed Tina to grow and evolve because she was the best player in the nation. Yes, you hadn't seen anything like Tina Hutchinson. And then, and with Cheryl Miller, that kind of caliber of ball players, and, and not allowing Tina, to me, to grow and to be able to just, experience life, and being out in San Diego, because people felt that, San Diego, 2.5 hours away, LA, Long Beach, Barbara Gilmore is at Long Beach, and they tell us that we all gonna be close. No, because we ain't never experienced anything like traffic out there in California. 45-minute drive, it's a 2-hour drive.
Right.
So, but Tina was just a phenom, and I just felt that missed out on so many things. She should have been on that Olympic team.
I know. See, we can.
That's what we're leading to.
They made so many things up about her that she didn't sign up. Well, we don't know how old she is. It was like they're playing Cheryl against her instead of. And I don't understand. We're trying to have the best team in the world. Why would you have both these young ladies on it, right?
Right. But see, I think a lot of it had to do with this. One thing I don't love about basketball and why I want to run track, because track, I got to be in the top 3. I determine if I'm gonna be in the top 3. Whenever you're dealing with a team sport, it's subjective, and then you're dealing with a lot of different personalities and coaches that sometimes it might not surface to say that, oh, because you didn't come to this school, people still hold grudges and they remember those things. And it's unfortunate. It's the young player who suffered the consequence of some of the dealings of what the adult was doing. So I think a lot of that went into play. I'm not 100% sure, but it made no sense for Tina not to be on that Olympic team.
But she was so, appreciative of being able to tell her story. Like, she just wants to be part of something that they're trying to leave her out of. You know what I mean? And,
yes. Unfortunate. Yes.
And we're the same age. And she goes, great. They try to say they don't even know how old I am. They don't know what year I was born. She goes, you know what I mean? I didn't come from Dominican Republic, and that's
right.
I came from Alabama.
Right out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Birmingham. It's like, come on.
Well, do you think at that particular time it was a quota for the players? You know what I'm saying?
The coaches,
the coaches had a quota. So many, they was gonna have.
Say it.
They was gonna have Cheryl Miller. It's gonna have the McGee twins. At that time, the quota was only so many blacks are gonna be on this basketball team at this particular time. And if they had to leave somebody off, it had to be Tina Hutchinson.
See, I think that I don't it could have been that. I don't think it was. I think a lot of it had to do with there was certain paperwork Mr. Riggins and them didn't get in, right? But on top of that, a lot of the things that didn't have anything to do with Tina was the one who was penalized.
Suffering by.
Because I'm telling you, Tina is the #1 player in the nation. Long Beach State. San Diego State wasn't even on the map. Mr. Riggins get the coaching job and he bring her along with him. It just.
Yeah, she had no business going to San Diego State. Being a
but it was like a package deal. But this is somebody that, hey, I love, Mr. Riggins. He's no longer here to defend himself, but it was a decision made that wasn't in the best interest of Tina.
Right.
Because she could have went to UCLA, she could have went to USC, all of these different schools, but still she was the best player in the nation. And at that time, Coach Riggins was trying to make a name for himself.
Right.
James, ain't none of us went where our coaches, he's the high school coach,
Right.
And now all of a sudden he's leaving high school and going to San Diego and taking people with you. Yeah.
But he drug her from Alabama to Lincoln.
Right. Brought her to Lincoln,
to continue his winning.
Exactly.
And then he drug her to San Diego State to try to continue his winning because he knew I got the best player in the country.
Best player in the country.
If nothing else, I can get some decent players around her and we'll take off. And he was his own career instead of hers. And we know that Mr. Riggins is a really good guy. And I love him.
We know
himself because he's passed. But the truth is the truth.
The truth is the truth. And not only that, those same coaches that you're talking about were the coaches at those universities that was recruiting, which you led them on like she's thinking about your university and never said that you were thinking about a package deal to go to San Diego State.
And that played a part. Now
That
and,
played
when
a
you did
major
that,
part.
because they say, oh, so you're going to trick us, instead of them being adults and saying this young lady had nothing to do with this. This adult did this to her. You got to
Yes.
understand, she's from a
And see,
small town.
from a small town. I really didn't know a lot about Tina's family, because it was like she was uprooted from Alabama, moved to East St. Louis.
Immediately.
Yes, because she was this basketball player.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you look at, we always talk about don't let people beat you on technicality.
Mhm.
And the technicality became the paperwork.
Yep.
That Mr. Riggins felt that because Tina was the best player, and this is the mindset, you the best, oh, they're going to have to take you. They didn't do that.
Because
You know, so it's
no
like with young
reason.
players, when you talk to young players and they think that I'm the best, I don't have to do everything, and coaches let them get away with it, then
Mhm.
they pay a price down the road, because you know when you get to college and as well as in the pros, you're dime a dozen. No, that same what you did on Little League ain't gonna work. Yeah, we need your Little League because we don't have a whole lot of. Yeah, you the superstar,
Right.
and it's unfortunate. That's what happened, because Mr. Riggins' attitude was that I got the best player. Y'all got to deal with me. No, they didn't.
Because now they'll get you back in that way. They got her back in that manner.
And it's unfortunate because
Well, they
she ended up suffering and paying a real,
It sounds like
unfortunate.
trying to get him back, and at the cost, and Tina paid the price. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because he probably was lying to all the UCLA's, the USC's and the Alabamas. He was
You know what? Unfortunate. Like, I know Mr. Riggins, good guy. Mr. Riggins told me UCLA didn't want me.
He wanted to
Told
get
me
out.
they didn't want me. And so I should go, take my scholarship somewhere else. And when my dad and I went on our recruiting trip, they told me they didn't care what I take that scholarship in as long as I come. So it was totally a different conversation. And, back then, everything went through the coaches.
Mhm.
So you didn't know, so when they talk about package deals, we don't know nothing about no package deal because we don't know this. So every letter, everything came through the schools, unless a coach somehow got your contact and reached out, because they talked to the coaches.
That's right.
And then they would tell your parent, well, no, this, and I'm telling you, he gave us all letters. He said, I'm telling you, as good as I'm sitting here, we sat in front of my house. It was me, Deborah Thurston, Barbara Gilmore in the car, and he told me UCLA did not want me. I never forget that.
I get it.
No, yeah, he wanted to make it about him instead of letting you guys. He wanted you guys as flowers instead of letting you guys prosper and just continue to do what he's doing. Helping the kids in the community.
Bringing
and unfortunate, you look at Tina. She didn't have the whole strength of family.
Yes.
Where I had a mom and my dad didn't play, and they know my dad did not play.
No, sir.
So,
it seems like it was just Tina and him, correct? Because
yes,
he was her dad, coach, mentor, everything.
Right.
From Alabama.
And she's young. He saw her at an AAU camp and saw this girl being good and swept her off her feet and brought her here to East St. Louis.
It's just that, just listen to her story. I mean, the passion and the heartache and the hurt that she said, just coming on the show was to tell her story was huge for her, because she's been suppressing it for so long.
That's really good. James, I'm glad you all gave her this outlet,
Me and Greg reached back to her and we got her on the show. You can tell it was like,
she was hurt.
Well, how many years you would say since what, 84?
She said it was 40. Yeah.
It was what, 40 years?
Yeah.
84 Olympics, right, bro?
Yeah, she was hurting.
Yes.
And it's sad for all them years up until that day that me and Greg interviewed her.
And even like she said, when she had the scoring record for freshmen, the NCAA, they didn't reach out to say, will you be at the game if Juju passed? Mm-hmm. Nothing, no calls, no nothing. She said, so, it's just a slap in the face, like her whole adulthood or young, teenager, adolescent coming into adulthood.
Wow.
Slapped in the face, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
She's frustrated,
wow.
but
think that's what happens less in like.
So Juju broke her scoring record. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was Tina's record that Juju.
Yeah.
Yeah, you right. They're really giving credit to Lynette Witter. So I know.
And people don't understand how good Tina was.
Yeah, oh.
She was ahead of the
yes.
by a long shot.
Yeah, she said
Right.
no one called her to say you want to come, nothing, and it's I think
wow.
because it seems like she said she never existed. It's just like there was really no Tina. It was about
right.
Well, let's get back to East St. Louis. The things that you're doing in East St. Louis, because like I said, we talk about sports, but the main thing is life after sports. And the things that you're doing in East St. Louis, could you let our audience know some of the things that you are doing in our hometown?
Yes, so I started the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Foundation. My work started in 1988. And after I had won double gold medals in Seoul, Korea, and I had sponsorship dollars, I took 110 students to the Macy Day Parade because I was going to be on the float along with my late sister-in-law, Flojo, Carl Lewis, and Janet Evans. And I wanted people from our community to see our community is no different than any other community. And so that was the beginning, of my work. I wanted to reopen the Mary Brown Center that I grew up in. And just to backtrack a little, so in 81, I was my freshman year in college, and I was diagnosed as being an asthmatic. And then, unfortunately, I lost my mother to the worst form of meningitis. And I had to come home. I had to make the decision to take her off the life support. And one of the places I wanted to go where people could pour into me was the Mary Brown Center. Little did I know, when I walked up there, it had padlocks on the door. And I started thinking at that time, where do the young people go? And so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that maybe I could open that center. But I didn't know you needed money to do this. I just had this ambitious and, idea to want to open up the Mary Brown Center. But little did I know, challenging. And then I just said, well, I don't need a building to help people. So giving up my time, coming back, talking to the track team, talking to the History Club or the Honor Society, different programs I had been involved with. And fast forward, I make the second Olympic team, 88, go to Seoul, Korea, take my sponsorship dollars, do some different things. And then 8 years later, have the opportunity to acquire the land to build the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Center. In 96, we broke ground on the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Center, opened in 2000. We do after-school programming. We provide transportation. We pick our students up from school, bring them to the JJK Center. I have a curriculum that was designed out of my autobiography, A Kind of Grace, called Winning in Life. And it's 14 different principles that's threaded through all the work that we do. I have a dream room. We use sports as the hook. We try to make sure that each and every one of our students can read at grade level. In 2021, we started JJK Academy with kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. This year, we're going up to first grade. Now we also building an innovation center around food, agriculture, and nutrition, so our young people can know where food comes from. And so really working with the total family, really trying to make sure that they are thriving, and being able to, I would say that I never walked in James's shoes, or Greg's shoes or anyone's shoes, but I say to our people, the reason I choose to be back in the community, because I want them to touch and feel and know that you could do anything if you put your mind to it. And so that's some of the work that we're doing. We've seen the growth around here with one of my board members, Lansdowne Park, building housing, and trying to get people to come back into the community and really have a whole ecosystem in this area where people will want to pour into East St. Louis and see it as a bright spot like I do and like James does. We see this as an oasis, that there are a lot of great people here that's trying to do great things, and just given the right opportunity, hopefully, as we build this community, it starts with one of us, but then the collective of all of us can build a stronger community for the next generation that's going to come after us.
You know, that's touching because I've been in those shoes, and I you know, I have my foundation, and I tried. I just got mentally so beat up, you know, being from California and moving. But it just seemed like no one wanted to help you. You know what I mean? There was no, you know, you're going to the same. They're always telling you what you should do. You know, you need to do more of this, more of that. But then when you go, no one's, you know, you have a few people that, you know, stick by you, but you know, because you need sweat equity, but you also need financial
Yes.
stability too. You know what I mean, for us, because people don't understand when you cut back our programs in neighborhoods where we grow up to, there's only one place we're gonna go, and that's the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, the park and recreation, and you know,
I mean, they take away the roller rinks, they take away the ice.
Yes.
They take
You
away
know,
the
and
things that can
but
keep
you-
our children from getting in trouble. And
right.
they're on the streets and you're locking them up in handcuffs. The only thing they can say on the news is, look at them, this is what they built for, this is what they do. No, this is the only thing you left them to do. And when you
Yes.
keep an idle mind, the devil gonna show up all the time.
Right. And that's why we're open between those hours of 3 and 6, you know, to make sure that even through our after school programming, you know, and you know, and also like I tell our staff that we can't be everything to everybody. You know, we can only do what we can, you know, and make the best of that. And to know that even when you think about you see basketball and you see football.
Mhm.
It is when we start our baseball program, you know, our young people, when I came up, we played baseball with a stick and a rock. You know, our kids now, they don't even understand baseball. So when we first started our baseball program, we put them up to bat. They hit the ball and they were running to third base. You know, so then we got volunteers here. Now there's some good little ball players, you know.
Yeah, like
but
said,
building the team camaraderie, teaching them about sportsmanship. That's what the winning in life is. The winning in life is works on social skills, social emotional responsibility. But also, I get sick and tired of hearing our kids when we don't do well. It's not about race. It's not that somebody cheated you. I want you to go back and figure out what we need to do so we can get better, so we can be better, you know, be good role models for our teammates.
You know, that's weird. That's weird you say that, because in the early days when I was young and I used to see some guys go off to college, right? And now I see them come back home, and I used to always hear them say, "Oh, the coach didn't like me. The coach didn't like me." I didn't understand that, right? So when I finally went off to college to go do my thing, I said to myself, I don't give a damn if the coach don't like me. I ain't going back to East St. Louis.
Right.
You know, they never say what they did.
What a
You know,
coach not to like.
But it wasn't down to the coach. You know, they just didn't want to, you know, like I said, they didn't want to be accountable for what they were doing. You know,
Right.
and I think that's what pushed me too, because I seen some of my heroes from my neighborhood go, and they came back. I was like, oh Lord, if they can send them back, they can send me back. You know, but I also had my mom, my grandmother, my uncle,
See,
and it's supportive.
Right. And they kept you grounded, you know, because one thing about it, we all respected authority. There is no way I could ever go into the school and talk to the teacher like, you know, you talk about the difference, what you say in sports, different that you just see like in the classroom. There is no way my mother or father gonna come up to the school and jump on the teacher without knowing that, no, I know Jackie really did that. We're gonna have a talk with Jackie first, you know.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, if it got home, if they called home, the adult. I grew up. The adult was always right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
The adult was always right. So don't disrespect the adult. And if it gets to your dad, then you're really in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, and you're right though. There's no accountability for authority. You know, there's lack of respect. Lack of respect, not just in the school system, but life. I mean, if you respect social media, look how we talk about the women, but look how the women are talking about themselves. You know what I mean? What they
Right.
call themselves.
They calling themselves names, and then if you call them the name, why you call them the name? But you just called yourself that. So
Right.
what me calling you?
Yeah.
You know?
That's why you don't change to fit into the moment.
That's
You
right.
remain the same and then try to pull them up because sometimes they have no clue. That's why even when you look at social media and they doing something, just some of the things that they don't realize that's a resume. You know, it's gonna follow you for the rest of your life.
And another thing is, I get tired of people saying, "Well, they ain't doing nothing in the school." Learning and teaching begins at home.
Right.
I was a school teacher. My mom knew I was a fool. I couldn't go and tell my mom that I wasn't no fool because my mama knew I acted a fool at home. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying.
the learning and the teaching is at home. So when the parent comes to the school and be acting up, why are you acting up? You know your
Right. You know your kid.
is already
You know.
cut up. You know, my mom ain't going to no school and act up. She was like, "Yeah, I know he did it."
But you know what? But our people too don't realize. They said they kept us from learning. They kept school is free. You know,
Yes.
if the public school is free, it might not be as best as some of the private schools.
Right.
It's
But
what you
still.
make of it. You know what I mean? It's taking advantage of that opportunity. You know what I mean? Because no one can keep you from learning except you.
And that's with anything that you do. You know, first it starts with yourself. Mm-hmm. Even, you know, I look back on 84. Mm-hmm. You know, I was picked to win the gold medal. And I had never dealt with an injury before. And so mentally, I just wasn't tough. And I just said, if this is what I really want to do, that I got to be tough mentally. Because physically, I know I can do it. And as an athlete, you don't think you get injured. Things happen. And that's, you know, that's when you test it, you know, and I just had never experienced that. So
that was your test.
Yes.
So I know, but do you know how many gold medals have you won in your track and field career?
Whoa. So I have 3 Olympic golds. I have 2 golds from Goodwill Games, a gold from the Pan American Games, 4 World Championship golds. I think that's it.
Can we melt them down? Let's melt them down. Can we melt them down? Hey, we take them to the pawn shop. Let's go to the pawn shop, girl. Let's melt them down. Get us a little bread. Hey, we gonna get us a snook sandwich.
Yes.
You know, it's you are a hero though. You know, and a blessing, and you know, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, we need to have more people like you, and I'm happy that you're touching so many lives. You know what I mean? And hopefully, us getting this out there, young women and little boys will see and say, "Hey, you know, I can." No matter what they tell me, they say I can't. Yes, you can. You know.
Yes.
Instead of proving them right, prove them wrong.
Right. Exactly.
you know,
put that energy into proving them wrong. You know, let that be your motivation. You know.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you very much, and I do love. East St. Louis is still in second place. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna bring him home and get him a tripe sandwich, and he's gonna be all right. Let me give him some. Take him to the Rice House.
Just think about it. So you know, I'm allergic to seafood, right, boy? We used to eat shrimp St. Paul.
Like, I can't eat. You know what? I can't either.
Right.
I cannot eat shrimp anymore.
Right. You know, it triggers my asthma, and some of the things.
Hey, Jay. I used to be a shrimp St. Paul eater.
Yes.
Boy, if I get near a shrimp, I might pass out and die.
Right. You know, you got people like, what is that? I remember I went out to California and they had, I think it was Dim Bones, right? Barbecue. So I go and I'm like, I want a snoot. They go, oh, a snout? I'm like, no.
Big no.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They weren't eating that.
You know, all your accolades. What's it like to have a famous husband, though? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, the same household. I mean, what are those conversations like? You know what I mean?
You know what? One of the things I always respected Bobby as my coach. I always wanted to remain coachable, no matter how great they said I was. I knew the combination of us is what made us successful. And you know, and people they try to come in between that, but. And sometimes I challenge as being the wife, you know, like, oh, I don't feel like doing that. But no, but it's good because not only did I see what he was able to do with me, it's across the board.
Mhm.
You know, this man has won a gold medal from 1984, because 80 we boycotted, 84 until now in every Olympic Games with one of his athletes.
That's wonderful.
Sure.
That's great.
Man, nobody can say
Yes.
that, can it? They can't say that.
No. Mm-mm. And being able to finish up with Sidney McLaughlin-Lerone breaking the world record, doing something that people didn't think could be done, you know. So
And on the 50.
we don't train like most, you know, we go for it, you know, and it's like, people, oh, you can't do that. Oh, Jackie, you can't score 7,000. You know what? We don't put limits to what we can do. I just get out there and do it.
You know, that's what I tell my daughter, who's a equestrian rider. You know, I said, forget, you know, that dressage, trying to get those 70s or 80s. She said, that might be too low. You know what I mean? You know, just go out there and be, like I said, be the world champion, be the best.
Right. Just be the
the
best
world
that you could be. And you never know. Don't let somebody put limits to you, because that's what people try to do. Oh, you can't do that. That's what we try to tell our kids now. We got, I can. Not this, I can't. You know, you haven't even tried something. How you know, we're talking about try it first, then say, oh, I can, you know, so, and I will.
Al Davis said the best. Just win, baby.
Yeah. Hey, you one of the greats. Yeah.
But here on
Life
Life After Sports, we have a little saying that we say, and I'm gonna make Greg say it.
No, I want you to say it. No,
I'm gonna make him say it today.
No. I want you to say it.
Okay, you know, okay.
I know, but this
You
is
are a chain breaker and a dream maker. But breaking chains and building dreams, that's a person that you are to a lot of communities. You have broke a lot of chains and built a lot of dreams in your lifetime. And me and Greg and the crew would like to say thank you for coming to Life After Sports 23. And I love you, my friend.
And if there's anything, if you need someone to come out for that baseball and help them little kids, hey, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Now, one thing about his word is bomb.
Okay. Yes.
Homer Bush and get Homer to come on.
Oh yeah.
Homer,
Yeah.
Homer in Phoenix right now, but we're gonna go do it.
That's okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate you.
All Gilkey and
Oh yeah.
what's the names back home? Tight end from San Diego. From East Saint. Play for the
Winslow?
Winslow. He's back home.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah,
Because I stayed in contact with Kellen. Yeah.
Yeah, she told me she's seen him, and
Okay.
she gave him my number.
I just seen him in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's a great man, good dude.
Oh yeah. I didn't know he was a state champion in chess.
Yeah, he's smart. Yeah.
Smart. Smart
Like
kid.
what?
You get him to that learning center, get them kids on there.
Yes. So
Doing a chess.
well,
thank you
okay
again.
then.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. James, don't forget, I'm gonna send you that 7291.
Oh Lord, I knew you weren't gonna forget that. All right, sis.
All right.
I'll be there in a couple weeks.
All righty.
I'm coming to do some filming, so I'll be there in
okay.
a couple weeks. Okay.
All righty.
All right, babe.
Thank
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.